If tonight finds you here because sleep feels impossible, because grief has made your bed feel like a foreign place, because your heart is so heavy that even closing your eyes feels like too much work, then you've found exactly where you need to be. Maybe you're staring at the ceiling, replaying memories that both comfort and ache. Maybe you're scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m. because the silence feels too loud. Maybe you've been carrying this weight for days, weeks, or months, wondering if you'll ever feel normal again. Here's what I want you to know tonight. Your grief isn't too big for God. Your sleeplessness isn't a surprise to Him, and the tears you've cried, the ones still threatening to fall, they're not a sign of weakness. They're human, they're real, they're seen. Tonight, we're going to rest in Psalm 30 together. It's a psalm written by someone who knew what it felt like to be in the depths, who understood that weeping can feel endless, but who discovered something beautiful, that God specializes in turning mourning into dancing, sorrow into joy, and night into morning. You don't have to fix anything tonight. You don't have to feel better by morning. You just have to be here, breathing, allowing God's ancient promises to hold you while you rest. Your healing doesn't have a deadline, but your hope, your hope has a guarantee. And it's found in these sacred words that have comforted broken hearts for thousands of years. Before we begin this journey together, I want to invite you to make yourself at home here at Psalm's Peace. If these words bring comfort to your weary soul tonight, please consider subscribing, not for me, but for you, because there will be other nights when sleep feels far away, other moments when your heart needs this kind of gentle comfort. Let this be your safe harbor whenever the storms feel too strong. Tonight, we're not just reading words on a page. We're entering into a conversation between a human heart and the God who created it. Psalm 30 isn't just poetry, it's a roadmap from the valley of weeping to the mountaintop of joy. It's David's testimony, but it's also your invitation. Maybe you picked up your parents' belongings today, and the finality hit you like a wave. Maybe you drove past that place where everything changed. Maybe you woke up this morning and for just a split second forgot that they were gone, and then reality crashed over you again. Maybe you're grieving something that isn't death at all, a relationship, a dream, a season of life that ended too soon. Grief is not a problem to be solved. It's love with nowhere to go. It's the price we pay for having hearts that can attach, souls that can bond, spirits that can hope. And tonight, you don't have to apologize for it. You don't have to rush through it. You don't have to pretend it's smaller than it is. What you can do is let yourself be held by words that have held grieving hearts for over 3,000 years. Words written by someone who knew what it felt like to be brought low, who understood the weight of sorrow, but who also discovered that God's love is stronger than our deepest pain. David, the author of this psalm, wasn't writing from a place of theory. He was writing from experience. He'd walked through valleys where shadows felt permanent. He'd cried tears that felt endless. He'd questioned whether morning would ever come. But he'd also experienced something miraculous. The sunrise after the longest night, the laughter after the deepest sorrow, the dancing after the mourning. Tonight, as we walk through his words together, I want you to imagine that you're not alone in this. Imagine that there are others, right now, in bedrooms and living rooms around the world, who are also choosing hope over despair. who are also letting these ancient promises minister to their modern pain. You might be thinking, but my situation is different. My loss is too big. My pain is too complex. And you're right, your story is unique. Your grief has fingerprints that belong only to you. But here's what's not unique: God's capacity to heal, His commitment to comfort, His promise that weeping is temporary, but joy is coming. As we begin, I want you to get as comfortable as possible. Adjust your pillows, pull your blankets a little closer, let your breathing slow down. You're not performing tonight. You're not trying to impress anyone with your faith or your strength. You're simply receiving. You're allowing yourself to be ministered to by the same God who ministered to David in his darkest hour. If tears come, let them fall. If questions arise, let them surface. If doubt whispers in your ear, don't fight it. Just let these words speak louder. Because sometimes the most profound healing happens not when we're trying to be strong, but when we're finally willing to be vulnerable in the presence of love itself. Your heart is safe here. Your grief is welcome here. Your exhaustion is understood here. And your hope, even if it feels fragile tonight, is being tended to by hands that specialize in resurrection. Let's begin with David's opening declaration. And I want you to hear it, not as something you have to do, but as something that's possible even in your pain. Asterisk, I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths and did not let my enemies triumph over me. Lord, my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. Asterisk, notice that David doesn't start with his pain. He starts with praise. But this isn't denial. This is remembrance. This is a man looking back at times when God showed up, when rescue came, when healing happened. And tonight, even in your grief, I wonder if you can find even one moment, one small instance, where God's hand was present in your story. Maybe it was the friend who called at exactly the right moment. Maybe it was the way the sun broke through the clouds on a particularly dark day. Maybe it was the strength you found to get through the funeral, the courage to clean out their room, the grace to keep breathing when breathing felt impossible. Asterisk, I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths. Asterisk, the depths. David knew about depths. He knew about places where light seems impossible, where hope feels like a foreign concept, where every breath feels like work. But notice what he says: you lifted me, past tense. God has a track record of lifting. You might be in the depths right now. You might feel like you're drowning in sorrow, suffocating under the weight of loss. But God is still the God who lifts. He's still the God who reaches down into the deepest places and says, you don't have to stay here. Inch, and did not let my enemies triumph over me. Asterisk, your enemies might not be people. They might be despair, hopelessness, the voice that tells you this pain will never end. They might be guilt over things said or unsaid, regret over time that can't be reclaimed, fear about facing tomorrow without the one you've lost. But God doesn't let these enemies have the final word. Your pain is real, but it's not permanent. Your grief is valid, but it's not your identity. Asterisk, Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. Asterisk, healing. Not the kind that erases the scar, but the kind that makes the scar tell a story of survival. Not the kind that pretends the pain never happened, but the kind that transforms the pain into something redemptive. David called for help, and help came. It might not have looked like what he expected. It might not have come when he wanted, but it came. Tonight, as you let yourself rest, I want you to hear these words as your own declaration. God, you have lifted me before. You have not let sorrow have the final word in my story. When I have called for help, you have heard me. You have healed me in ways I recognize, and in ways I don't even know about yet. This isn't about pretending to feel grateful when you feel broken. This is about remembering that your story with God is bigger than this current chapter. This is about anchoring your soul to the truth that the same God who lifted David, who healed David, who rescued David, is the same God who sees you tonight in your bed, who knows the ache in your chest, who has plans for your healing that you can't even imagine yet. Let these words settle into your heart like medicine. You are being lifted. Your enemies will not triumph. When you call for help, you are heard. Healing is coming. Maybe not the kind you expected, maybe not on your timeline, but healing nonetheless. As your breathing slows and your body begins to relax, hold on to this truth. God specializes in resurrection. He takes what looks dead and breathes life into it. He takes what looks defeated and declares victory. He takes hearts that feel shattered and somehow, mysteriously, makes them whole again. Not the same as before, but strong in a different way. Beautiful in a way that only brokenness made whole can be. Now David takes us deeper into his story, and deeper into yours. You, Lord, brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spared my life from going down to the pit. The realm of the dead. Maybe that's exactly where you've been living, in a place where everything feels lifeless, where colors seem muted, where joy feels like a foreign language you used to. In the places where we feel dead inside. He comes into those places, the dark bedroom at 3 a.m. where you've been crying, the empty house that echoes with memories, the car where their favorite song came on and you had to pull over, and he says, this isn't where your story ends. You might feel dead to hope right now. You might feel dead to joy, dead to the possibility that life could ever feel meaningful again. But God is in the business of breathing life into dead things. He's in the business of taking what feels finished and saying, actually, we're just getting started. Asterisk, ... You spared my life from going down to the pit. Asterisk, the pit. Sometimes grief feels like a pit we're falling into, and the sides are too steep to climb out. Sometimes it feels like we're being pulled down by gravity, stronger than our will to rise. But God spares us from staying there. He doesn't always prevent us from experiencing the pit. but He prevents the pit from keeping us permanently. Maybe you've been afraid that this grief will swallow you whole. Maybe you've been terrified that you'll never find your way back to the surface. Maybe you've wondered if the person you used to be is gone forever. If happiness is something other people get to experience, but not you anymore. Tonight, let these words speak directly to that fear. You are being brought up. Your life is being spared from the pit. The part of you that feels dead is being resurrected, not back to exactly what it was before. Resurrection never means going backward. It means going forward into something new, something that bears the marks of what you've been through, but isn't defined by it. Take a slow breath with me now. Feel the air filling your lungs, proof that life is still moving through you. Feel your heart beating, evidence that resurrection is already at work in your body. You are not as dead as you feel. You are not as lost as you think. You are not as forgotten as your pain whispers. God sees you in this in-between place, this space where you feel neither fully alive nor completely gone, and He's already beginning the work of bringing you up. Not all at once. Resurrection is usually a process, not an event, but steadily, surely, lovingly, He's lifting you from the realm of the dead and calling you back to the land of the living. This doesn't mean your person comes back. This doesn't mean your loss gets erased. This means that you, the you that will emerge from this valley, will be more alive than you've ever been. Not despite your grief, but because of how it's teaching you to treasure life, to value connection, to understand the preciousness of every moment. As you let sleep begin to call your name, rest in this promise. You are being brought up. The pit will not keep you. The realm of the dead is not your permanent address. You are being spared, lifted, resurrected into a new chapter of your story, one where your loss becomes part of your strength, where your pain becomes part of your compassion, where your survival becomes part of your testimony. Now David shifts from his personal testimony to a call for others to join in. And there's something beautiful happening here. Sing the praises of the Lord. You who are faithful to Him, praise His holy name. You might be thinking, but I can't sing right now. I can barely speak without crying. Praise feels impossible when my heart is breaking, and that's okay. That's more than okay. That's human. But notice what David is doing here. He's not commanding you to sing. He's calling on others, you who are faithful to Him, to sing. When we can't find our voice, others sing for us. When our hearts are too heavy to lift in praise, other hearts lift on our behalf right now. As you're listening to these words, there are people around the world who are praising God for your healing before you can even believe it's possible. There are prayers being offered for people just like you. People whose names aren't known, but whose pain is felt, whose grief is held in the heart of God and in the hearts of His people. Sing the praises of the Lord, you who are faithful to Him. The faithful ones, not the perfect ones, not the ones who have it all figured out, but the faithful ones, the ones who keep showing up even when they don't understand, the ones who hold on to hope even when their own hearts are breaking, the ones who have walked through their own valleys and emerged with songs they didn't have before. Maybe you've been those faithful ones for others. Maybe you've been the voice that sang over someone else's silence, the one who praised God on behalf of a friend who couldn't find the words. Tonight, those same faithful ones are singing over you. Think about the people in your life who have held on to faith even when circumstances suggested they shouldn't. Think about the ones who have loved you through your mess, who have seen you at your lowest and still believed in your highest. Think about the voices that have spoken life over you when you could only speak death over yourself. Those voices are still singing tonight. They're singing praises for the healing they know is coming in your story. They're singing worship for the God who specializes in making beauty from ashes, who turns mourning into dancing, who brings joy in the morning. Asterisk, double quotes, ... praise his holy name. Asterisk, his holy name, the name that is above every other name, above grief, above loss, above despair, above the name of whatever you're facing that feels too big for you to handle. His name is holy, which means it's set apart, distinct, powerful in a way that nothing else is. When you can't find words to praise, others are praising his holy name over your situation. When you can't see past your pain, others are declaring his holiness over your future. When you can't imagine good things coming from this terrible thing, others are praising the God who has a track record of writing beautiful stories from broken chapters. You are held in a community of praise tonight. Even if you're physically alone, you are surrounded by the songs of the faithful. Even if your own voice is silent, you are covered by the worship of those who have gone before you in grief and come through to the other side with testimonies of God's goodness. Let that truth settle into your soul like a warm blanket. You don't have to carry the weight of praising God through this season. Others are doing it for you. You don't have to muster up gratitude you don't feel. Others are being grateful on your behalf for the healing they know is coming. Your job tonight isn't to sing. Your job is to rest. Your job is to let yourself be held by the songs of others, to let yourself be covered by their praise, to let yourself be carried by their faith. When your own feels too fragile to support you, the faithful ones are singing tonight. They're singing over your sleep, over your dreams, over your tomorrow. They're singing praises for the morning that's coming, for the joy that's on its way, for the healing that's already begun in ways you can't see yet. Rest in their songs. Let their praise become a lullaby that carries you into peaceful sleep. You are not alone in your grief, and you are not alone in your healing. The community of the faithful is singing you through this night and into the dawn that's coming. David now gives us one of the most hope-filled contrasts in all of Scripture. Asterisk, for his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Asterisk, maybe you've been wondering if God is angry with you. Maybe you've been lying awake thinking that this loss is somehow punishment, that your pain is evidence of divine displeasure. Maybe you've been carrying guilt alongside your grief, wondering if you did something to deserve this heartbreak. Let me speak directly to that fear. Tonight, God is not punishing you through your grief. Your loss is not evidence of his anger. Your pain is not proof that you've fallen out of his favor. Asterisk, his anger lasts only a moment. ... Even when God's discipline is involved in our lives, and often our pain comes from living in a broken world rather than from divine discipline, it's temporary. It has an expiration date. It serves a purpose, and then it passes. But his favor, his love, his commitment to you, that's permanent. Sometimes we confuse God's discipline with his abandonment. Sometimes we think that because we're experiencing consequences for our choices, it means God has written us off. But discipline and abandonment are completely different things. A parent disciplines a child they love, not one they've rejected. But here's what I want you to understand tonight. Most of the grief you're carrying isn't discipline at all. It's simply the reality of living in a world where beautiful things sometimes break, where precious people sometimes leave too soon, where love makes us vulnerable to loss. But his favor lasts a lifetime. A lifetime. Not just the good moments, not just when you're performing well, not just when you have it all together. His favor covers your entire life, the celebrations and the sorrows, the victories and the valleys, the moments when you feel close to him, and the nights when he feels far away. His favor was on you the day you were born. His favor was on you the day your world changed. His favor is on you tonight as you struggle to sleep. His favor will be on you tomorrow when you wake up to face another day without them. His favor isn't dependent on your circumstances or your emotional state or your ability to understand his ways. Think about the contrast David is drawing here. Anger for a moment, favor for a lifetime. Even if there are moments when God's correction or discipline touches your life, they are brief compared to the endless stream of his goodness toward you. Maybe you've been so focused on trying to figure out what you did wrong that you've missed all the evidence of what he's doing right in your life. Maybe you've been so convinced that this pain means he's turned away from you that you haven't noticed all the ways he's been turning toward you. His favor is in the friend who keeps checking on you. His favor is in the strength you find to get through days that feel impossible. His favor is in the moments of unexpected peace that interrupt your anxiety. His favor is in the very fact that you're here tonight, choosing hope over despair, choosing to listen to his word instead of giving up entirely. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Let this truth dissolve any fear you've been carrying that God is somehow against you in this season. Let it melt away any guilt that's been telling you that you deserve this pain. Let it wash over any shame that's been whispering that you're being punished for something you did or didn't do. You are favored, not because you're perfect, but because you're his. Not because you have it all figured out, but because he has you figured out. Not because you deserve it. None of us deserve it, but because that's who he is. He's the God whose favor endures, whose love lasts, whose commitment to you outlives every season of difficulty you'll ever face. As you close your eyes tonight, rest your tears, that some pain is too big for shallow responses. The word endure here is important. It doesn't say weeping might happen for a night. It says it may endure, it may persist, it may continue, it may feel like it's taking up residence in your heart, and that's okay. That's not weakness. That's love with nowhere to go. Maybe people have been telling you that you should be feeling better by now. Maybe you've been telling yourself that your grief is taking too long, lasting too long, hurting too much. Maybe you've been apologizing for your tears or hiding your pain because you don't want to make others uncomfortable. Tonight, hear this. Your weeping is valid. Your sorrow is appropriate. Your grief is the natural response of a heart that has loved and lost, and there is nothing shameful about it. Asterisk weeping may endure for a night. Asterisk a night. In Hebrew, this word can mean a literal night, but it can also mean a season, a time of darkness, a period of sorrow, an era of pain. Your night might be longer than 24 hours. It might be weeks or months or even years. And that doesn't mean you're doing grief wrong. It means you're doing love right. The depth of your grief is a testament to the depth of your love. The intensity of your sorrow is evidence of the intensity of your connection. The way their absence echoes in your life is proof of how fully their presence filled it. But David doesn't stop with the weeping. He doesn't leave us in the night. He gives us the promise that has echoed through generations of broken hearts. Asterisk. But joy comes in the morning. Asterisk. Joy comes. Not might come, not could come if you're lucky, not will come if you deserve it. Joy comes. It's a certainty, a promise, a guarantee from the God who cannot lie. But notice what kind of joy this is. It's not the joy that pretends the night never happened. It's not the joy that erases the memory of what you've lost. It's mourning. Joy, the kind that's deeper because of the darkness that preceded it. The kind that's sweeter because you know what life tastes like without it. This joy doesn't mean you'll forget your loved one or stop missing them. It doesn't mean the sadness will completely disappear or that you'll never have another moment of grief. It means that joy will return to your life different than before. Maybe quieter than before. Maybe more precious because you know how fragile it is, but it will return. Asterisk joy comes in the morning. Asterisk mourning is God's daily reminder that darkness doesn't get the last word. Every sunrise is His signature on a promise that new beginnings are possible, that fresh hope is available, that what looked finished in the darkness takes on new life in the light. Your morning might not be tomorrow morning. It might not even be next week or next month, but it's coming. The same God who ensures that physical dawn follows physical night is the same. God who promises that emotional and spiritual dawn will follow your season of sorrow. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, I want you to hold both truths simultaneously. Weeping may endure for your night, and joy comes in your morning. You don't have to choose between them. You don't have to rush from one to the other. You can honor your grief while holding space for hope. You can cry today and believe in laughter tomorrow. Your tears are not evidence that your faith is weak. They're evidence that your heart is soft. Your love is real. Your loss is significant. And the God who sees every tear you cry is the same. God who has written mourning into your story, not as an end to your love for what you've lost, but as a beginning of your journey forward with that love as part of your strength. Let sleep come gently tonight. Let it be a rehearsal for the rest that's coming, the peace that awaits, the morning that will dawn, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not soon, but certainly, surely, inevitably. Weeping may endure for this night, but joy is coming in your morning. Let's stay here a little longer with this promise that has carried countless souls from despair to hope. Asterisk. But joy comes in the morning. Asterisk. I want you to think about what morning represents. Morning is proof. Joy that skims over the surface of suffering. This is mature joy, seasoned joy, joy that has been tested. This is the joy of someone who has learned that they can survive what they thought would destroy them. This is you discover that your experience of loss has given you a capacity to comfort others that you never had before. Your mourning might be when you understand that they wouldn't want your love for them to be defined by sorrow. Your mourning might be when you realize that living fully isn't a betrayal of their memory. It's a celebration of the love they invested in you. Asterisk. Joy comes in the morning. Asterisk. This joy will be different than the joy you knew before. It will be quieter, deeper, more aware of its own preciousness. It will be joy that knows the value of tears, joy that understands the weight of loss, joy that has been purified by pain and refined by sorrow. But it will be real joy. It will be sustainable joy. It will be joy that can coexist with ongoing sadness, joy that doesn't need perfect circumstances to survive, joy that has learned to bloom in soil that has been watered by tears. And here's something beautiful about this promise. It's not just for the end of your grieving process. Mourning can come multiple times. You might have small mournings along the way, moments when joy breaks through like sunlight through clouds, giving you glimpses of the fuller dawn that's coming. Maybe your morning is tomorrow when you wake up and realize you slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Maybe your morning is next week when something makes you smile without guilt immediately following. Maybe your mourning is next month when you drive past their favorite place and feel gratitude instead of only sadness. Asterisk. Joy comes in the morning. Asterisk. As you rest tonight, hold this promise close to your heart, not as pressure to feel better than you do, not as a timeline for your healing, but as an anchor for your hope. The same God who painted the sky with the colors of dawn is painting hope into your story. The same God who established the rhythm of night and day has established the rhythm of sorrow and joy in your life. Your night is real, but it's not permanent. Your weeping is valid, but it's not forever. Your mourning is coming, maybe slowly, maybe in ways you don't expect, but certainly. Joy comes in the morning, and your mourning is on its way. Now David takes us back to before the storm, to a time when life felt predictable and safe. Asterisk. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Asterisk. Maybe you can relate to this feeling. Maybe there was a time when you felt secure too, when life seemed stable and predictable. Maybe you looked at your family, your health, your relationships, your circumstances, and thought, this is solid. This will last. Nothing can shake this foundation. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. There's no judgment in David's tone here. He's not criticizing himself for feeling secure. Security is a good thing. Feeling stable and safe is part of what allows us to love deeply, to invest fully, to build meaningful lives. God doesn't want us to live in constant fear that everything could fall apart at any moment. But David is being honest about the shock that comes when life proves to be more fragile than we thought. He's acknowledging the disorientation that happens when our sense of never meets the reality of actually it can happen. Maybe you had said similar things, not out loud, but in your heart. My marriage will never end. My parents will never die. My health will never fail. My job will never disappear. My child will never. These weren't arrogant statements. They were human statements. The kind of assumed permanence that allows us to function in an uncertain world. And then something shook you. The diagnosis came. The accident happened. The relationship ended. The phone call arrived in the middle of the night. And suddenly, the never became now, and the secure became uncertain. Asterisk. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Asterisk. The word shaken here is powerful. It means to totter, to slip, to be moved from a fixed position. Maybe that's exactly how you feel right now. Shaken, moved from the fixed position you thought was permanent. Tottering in a way that makes you feel off balance and unsure. Here's what I want you to understand. Being shaken doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. It means you had built your life on things that felt solid. And when those things proved to be more fragile than you thought, your whole world tilted. David isn't sharing this memory to mock his former sense of security. He's sharing it because he wants us to understand that feeling shaken is a normal response to abnormal circumstances. He wants us to know that the shock is part of the process, that the disorientation is understandable, that the way everything feels different now makes perfect sense. You might be angry at yourself for feeling so unprepared for this loss. You might be frustrated that you didn't see it coming, didn't plan better, didn't protect yourself more effectively. But how could you have? How do you prepare for something you never thought would happen? How do you guard against a loss you never thought you'd face? Asterisk. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. The beautiful thing about David sharing this memory is that he's writing from the other side of being shaken. He's writing as someone who was moved from his fixed position but found his footing again. He's writing as someone who learned that there's a difference between being shaken and being destroyed. You have been shaken. Your sense of security has been disrupted. Your assumptions about life have been challenged. Your feeling of never has collided with the reality of now. And that's traumatic. That's disorienting. That's worthy of grief. But being shaken doesn't mean being broken beyond repair. It doesn't mean you'll never feel secure again. It means you'll learn a different kind of security, not the security that comes from believing nothing bad will happen, but the security that comes from knowing you can survive when bad things do happen. You'll learn the security that comes from discovering that God's presence is more stable than your circumstances. You'll find the security that comes from realizing that your identity isn't dependent on your situation. You'll experience the security that comes from understanding that being shaken isn't the same as being abandoned. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, be gentle with yourself for having felt secure before. Don't criticize yourself for not seeing this coming. Don't blame yourself for building your life on things that proved to be temporary. You loved the best you knew how. You built the best you could with the information you had. And now you're learning to build again, this time with the wisdom that comes from being shaken. This time with the knowledge that the only truly unshakable foundation is the love of God. This time with the understanding that security isn't found in unchanging circumstances, but in the unchanging character of the one who holds you through every change. You were shaken, but you weren't shattered. You were moved, but you weren't destroyed. And from this place of new understanding, you'll learn to feel secure again, not because life is predictable, but because God is faithful. David continues his reflection on the time before his crisis. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. In the ancient world, mountains represented strength, stability, permanence. When David talks about his royal mountain standing firm, he's talking about feeling established, grounded, secure in his position and his blessings. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. Notice that David attributes his former stability to God's favor, not to his own strength or wisdom. Even in retrospect, even from the other side of difficulty, he acknowledges that the good times came from God's goodness, not from his own merit. Maybe you can look back now and see seasons when you felt like your mountain was standing firm, times when your family was healthy, when your relationships were strong, when your finances were stable, when your future looked bright, times when life felt solid beneath your feet. David wants us to remember those times, not to make us bitter about what we've lost, but to help us recognize God's goodness even in seasons of plenty. Sometimes we only learn to see God's favor in retrospect. Sometimes it takes loss to help us appreciate what we had when we had it. When you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. God's favor was active in your life during those stable seasons, even if you didn't think about it at the time. His favor was in the ordinary miracles you took for granted: the day your loved one woke up healthy, the morning you had breakfast together without knowing it would be one of your last, the evening you fell asleep secure in each other's presence. His favor was in the laughter that came easily. The plans you made assuming you'd be together to fulfill them. The problems that seemed big at the time but feel so small now. His favor was in the gift of feeling secure, even if that security proved to be temporary. And here's something important. God's favor didn't end when your mountain started to shake. His favor didn't disappear when your security was shattered. His favor looks different in different seasons, but it doesn't stop. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. In the season when your mountain was firm, God's favor looked like stability, predictability, the gift of taking tomorrow for granted. In this season when your mountain feels shaken, God's favor looks like strength for today. Comfort in your sorrow, hope for healing, the promise that morning will come. Maybe you've been wondering if God still favors you now that your life looks so different from what it used to be. Maybe you've been thinking that His favor was only present during the good times, that this difficult season means you've somehow fallen out of His good graces. But David is writing this psalm from a place of restored relationship with God. He's writing as someone who learned that God's favor isn't conditional on unchanging circumstances. He learned that God's favor is present in the firm mountain and in the shaking mountain, in the season of stability and in the season of loss. God's favor is present in your grief tonight. It's in the tears that release pressure from your heart. It's in the memories that remind you how deeply you were loved. It's in the friends who stay close when staying close is hard. It's in the strength you find to keep breathing when breathing feels like work. His favor is in the very fact that you're here, choosing to listen to His word instead of giving up entirely. His favor is in the hope that brought you to this moment, seeking comfort in His promises. His favor is in the sleep that will come tonight, giving your weary soul a few hours of rest. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. As you reflect on this tonight, let it accomplish two things in your heart. First, let it help you recognize and appreciate the seasons of God's favor that you experienced before this loss. Let it help you see those times as gifts, not entitlements, as grace, not guarantees. Second, let it help you trust that God's favor is still present now, even though it looks different. The same God who made your mountain stand firm in one season is the same God who will help you find new footing in this season. The same God who blessed you with stability then is the same God who will bless you with healing now. Your mountain may feel shaken, but your God is unshakable. Your circumstances may have changed, but His favor toward you is unchanging. He favored you then, He favors you now, and He will favor you in whatever season comes next. Now, David moves into one of the most honest and vulnerable admissions in all of Scripture. But when you hid your face, I was dismayed. The hidden face of God. Maybe this is exactly where you've been living, in a place where God feels absent, where prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling, where the comfort you once found in faith feels elusive and far away. When you hid your face, I was dismayed. David doesn't say if you hid your face, he says when. He's acknowledging that there are seasons in the life of faith when God feels hidden, when His presence seems withdrawn, when the closeness we once knew feels replaced by distance and silence. This isn't about God actually leaving, it's about our experience of His presence being different in different seasons. Sometimes in grief, our spiritual senses can be so overwhelmed by pain that we can't perceive God's nearness, even when He's right there beside us. Asterisk, I was dismayed. Asterisk, the word dismayed here carries the sense of being terrified, troubled, brought to ruin. When we feel like God has hidden His face from us, especially during times when we need Him most desperately, it's more than disappointing, it's devastating. Maybe you've been feeling this. Maybe you've been praying and hearing only silence. Maybe you've been reading scripture and finding only words on a page instead of the living comfort you used to experience. Maybe you've been going through the motions of faith while feeling spiritually empty inside. Maybe you've been wondering if this sense of God's absence means you've done something wrong, if your grief has somehow separated you from His love, if your questions and doubts and anger have pushed Him away. Asterisk, but when you hid your face, I was dismayed. Asterisk, here's what's beautiful about David, including this in his psalm. He's normalizing the experience of feeling spiritually abandoned during God's face has been revealed again, where God's presence has been restored to his awareness. This season of feeling spiritually abandoned has an end date. This time when God feels absent has a conclusion. This dark night of the soul will give way to dawn, and when it does, your faith will be deeper, your trust will be stronger, your relationship with God will be more real than it ever was when it was based only on good feelings and favorable circumstances. God hasn't actually hidden his face from you. Your pain has created a cloud between you and your awareness of his presence, but he's still there. Your grief has affected your spiritual vision, but it hasn't changed his spiritual faithfulness. Asterisk, but when you hid your face, I was dismayed. Asterisk, tonight, if you're in this place of feeling spiritually abandoned, know that you're in good company. David felt it. Jesus felt it on the cross when he cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Many of the greatest saints throughout history have walked through seasons when God felt absent, but also know this: God's apparent hiddenness is temporary, but his actual presence is permanent. Your feelings of his absence are real, but they're not the final word. Your experience of spiritual dryness is understandable, but it's not the end of your story. As you rest tonight, rest in this truth. Even when God's face feels hidden, his heart toward you has never changed. Even when his presence feels distant, his love for you remains constant. Even when he seems silent, he's still writing a beautiful story with your life, one where this dark night will give way to a mourning more glorious than you can imagine. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not spiritually orphaned. You are in the temporary darkness that precedes a greater light, in the seeming silence that precedes a more beautiful song, in the apparent absence that will make his eventual revelation even sweeter. From the depths of feeling abandoned, David shows us what to do with our desperation. To you, Lord, I called. To the Lord I cried for mercy. Even when God felt absent, David called to him. Even when he felt dismayed by God's hidden face, he turned toward God, not away from him. This is one of the most profound acts of faith in all of Scripture, crying out to the God who feels like he's not listening. To you, Lord, I called. David could have called to anyone else. He could have turned to human comfort, earthly solutions, temporary distractions. He could have given up on prayer altogether, deciding that if God felt absent, then God must not care. But instead, he called to the Lord. Maybe you've been doing the same thing. Maybe even in your darkest moments, even when God feels far away, you've still been turning to him. Maybe your prayers have felt desperate, raw, even angry, but you've still been praying. That's not weakness. That's warrior-level faith. To the Lord I cried for mercy. Not just called, cried. This is desperate prayer, urgent prayer, prayer that comes from the depths of human need. This is the kind of prayer that doesn't worry about eloquent words or proper theology. This is the prayer that simply says, "Help me, I'm drowning. I can't do this alone." The word mercy here is beautiful. It's not just asking for what we need. It's acknowledging that we don't deserve what we're asking for. But we're asking anyway, because that's who God is. Mercy is God's response to our desperation that has nothing to do with our merit and everything to do with his character. To you, Lord, I called. To the Lord I cried for mercy. Your desperate prayers count. Your middle-of-the-night cries for help are heard. Your raw, honest pleas for relief reach the throne of heaven. Even when you don't feel like God is listening, he's collecting every tear, cataloging every cry, hearing every whispered, "Please help me." Maybe your prayers lately haven't been pretty. Maybe they've been more like David's, desperate calls for mercy rather than polished petitions. Maybe you've been more honest with God about your pain than you've ever been before, more real about your anger, more raw about your need. That's exactly the kind of prayer God wants from you. He doesn't need your performance. He wants your heart. He doesn't require your theological correctness. He desires your authentic desperation. To you, Lord, I called. To the Lord I cried for mercy. Notice that David uses God's covenant name here, Lord, the name that speaks of relationship, faithfulness, commitment. Even in his desperation, even when God felt absent, David was calling on the basis of relationship, not just transaction. He was appealing to the God who had made promises, who had established covenants, who had committed himself to his people. You can do the same thing tonight. Even if God feels distant, you can call to him on the basis of his promises. Even if you feel abandoned, you can cry for mercy based on his character. Even if your circumstances suggest otherwise, you can appeal to the God who has said he will never leave you or forsake you. Your cries for help create a bridge between your desperation and his compassion. Your honest prayers build a pathway between your need and His provision. Your desperate calls for mercy connect your human fragility with His divine strength. Asterisk to you, Lord, I called. To the Lord I cried for mercy. Asterisk, and here's what's beautiful. David is writing this psalm, which means his calls were heard, his cries for mercy were answered. Not necessarily in the way he expected or on the timeline he wanted, but they were heard and answered. The fact that we have this testimony means that desperate prayer works. Your calls to God tonight are not falling on deaf ears. Your cries for mercy are not disappearing into empty space. Your desperate prayers are reaching the heart of the God who specializes in responding to human need with divine grace. Call to Him tonight, even if He feels absent. Cry for mercy, even if you feel undeserving. Let your prayers be as raw and honest and desperate as they need to be. God can handle your intensity. He can receive your pain. He can respond to your need. The same God who heard David's desperate cries is listening for yours. The same God who showed mercy to the psalmist is ready to show mercy to you. Your calling and crying are not wasted effort. They're the very pathway through which God's help will come. Now David does something that might surprise us. He argues with God, presenting his case for why his life should be preserved. Asterisk, what is gained if I am silenced? If I go down to the pit, will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness? Hear, Lord, and be merciful to me. Lord, be my help. Asterisk, David is essentially saying, God, if I die, if I'm silenced, if I go down to the pit, what good does that do anyone? Dead people can't praise you. Dust can't proclaim your faithfulness. You need me alive to tell your story. Asterisk, what is gained if I am silenced? Asterisk, maybe you've been feeling like your voice doesn't matter, like your story isn't significant, like it wouldn't make much difference if you just disappeared from the narrative. Maybe grief has made you feel so small, so insignificant, so overwhelmed, that you've wondered if anyone would even notice if you weren't here. David's question challenges that kind of thinking. He's saying that his voice matters, that his testimony has value, that his praise contributes something meaningful to the universe. And the same is true for you. Asterisk, double quotes, ... If I go down to the pit, asterisk, the pit, that place of despair, depression, hopelessness that grief can create in our souls. Maybe you've been teetering on the edge of that pit, feeling like it would be easier to just fall in and disappear than to keep fighting for hope. Keep choosing life. Keep believing that tomorrow could be different from today. But David is asking, God, what's gained if I give up? What's accomplished if I stop fighting? What's the benefit if I let despair win? Asterisk, will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness? Asterisk, here's David's argument. Dead people can't testify to God's goodness. Silenced voices can't proclaim His faithfulness. People who have given up can't encourage others who are struggling. He's saying, God, you need me alive because my story of your faithfulness needs to be told. And you know what? He's right. And the same argument applies to your life, your story, your future testimony. Asterisk, what is gained if I am silenced? If I go down to the pit? Asterisk, right now, you might not feel like you have much to offer. You might feel like your voice is too broken to encourage anyone, like your faith is too fragile to inspire others, like your pain is too overwhelming to be useful to God's purposes. But David is writing this psalm from the other side of his valley, and it has brought comfort to millions of people. Be the same. God, hear me. Be merciful to me. Help me. Not just so I can feel better, but so I can become a living testimony to your faithfulness for everyone who will walk a similar path. Asterisk, what is gained if I am silenced? If I go down to the pit? Asterisk, the answer is, nothing is gained. Everything is lost. The world loses your unique testimony, your specific perspective on God's goodness, your particular story of how He brings people through valleys and up to mountaintops. You matter. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your survival matters. Not just to you, not just to the people who love you, but to God Himself, who has plans to use your testimony of His faithfulness in ways you can't even imagine yet. So tonight, as you rest in this truth. You are not disposable. You are not replaceable. You are not insignificant. You are a vital voice in the choir of praise that proclaims God's faithfulness to a world that desperately needs to hear it. Your story is still being written, and the chapters that come after this season of grief will be testimonies to God's goodness that someone, somewhere, will desperately need to hear. Now we come to one of the most beautiful transformations described in all of Scripture. Asterisk, you turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Asterisk, this is God's specialty, the great exchange. He takes what's broken and makes it beautiful. He takes what's mourning and makes it dancing. He takes what's sorrow and makes it joy. This is the business God is in, and He's very good at it. Asterisk, you turned my wailing into dancing. Asterisk, notice that God doesn't minimize the wailing. He doesn't pretend it didn't happen. He doesn't skip over the grief or rush past the pain. The wailing was real. It was valid. It was necessary. But God turned it into something else. Wailing and dancing. Two of the most opposite physical expressions of human emotion. Wailing is the sound of a heart breaking, the cry of loss, the voice of despair. Dancing is the movement of celebration, the expression of joy, the physical manifestation of gladness. God specializes in these impossible transformations. He takes the very thing that represents your deepest pain and transforms it into the very thing that represents your greatest joy. Asterisk, you turned my wailing into dancing. ... Asterisk, maybe you can't imagine dancing right now. Maybe the idea of celebration feels foreign, inappropriate, even offensive. Maybe you look at people who are laughing and wonder how they can be so carefree when your world has fallen apart. That's okay. You don't have to be able to imagine it for it to be true. You don't have to see how it could happen for God to be already working on the transformation. You don't have to understand the process for the promise to be real. David couldn't have imagined dancing when he was wailing either. But God saw the dancer hidden inside the mourner. God saw the celebration waiting on the other side of the sorrow. God saw the joy that was being prepared through the process of grief. ... You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. In David's culture, sackcloth was the clothing of mourning, the rough fabric worn to express grief and repentance. It was uncomfortable, scratchy, a constant reminder of loss and sorrow. But God doesn't just leave us in our mourning clothes forever. Asterisk, you removed my sackcloth. ... Asterisk, God is gentle in his removal of our grief garments. He doesn't rip them off prematurely or insist that we change clothes before we're ready. But there comes a time when he tenderly helps us out of the heavy garments of grief and into something lighter, something more fitting for the new season he's preparing. Asterisk, ... And clothed me with joy. Asterisk, joy as clothing. Joy as something we wear, something that covers us, something that becomes our new identity. Not joy that we manufacture, or joy that we fake, or joy that we force ourselves to feel, but joy that God himself clothes us with. This joy doesn't erase the memory of the sackcloth. It doesn't pretend that the mourning never happened, but it represents a new season, a new chapter, a new way of being in the world. Asterisk, you turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Asterisk, this transformation is God's work, not yours. Identity. God is already preparing the dancing, already designing the joy, already planning the celebration that will emerge from this season of sorrow. You don't have to see it yet. You don't have to feel it yet. You just have to trust the God who has been turning wailing into dancing for thousands of years, who has been clothing mourners with joy since the beginning of time, who has never failed to keep this promise to anyone who has trusted him through the darkness. Your dancing is coming. Your joy is being prepared. Your new clothes are being tailored by the hands of love himself. Let's linger a little longer on this beautiful image of God. Changing our clothes. *. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. *. There's something so tender about this picture. God doesn't just command us to take off our mourning clothes. He doesn't stand at a distance and tell us to get dressed in joy. He comes close enough to gently remove the sackcloth himself, close enough to personally clothe us with joy. You removed my sackcloth. Imagine the gentleness of this action. God's hands carefully lifting the heavy garment of grief from your shoulders. His fingers tenderly untying the rough cords of sorrow. His love slowly, patiently helping you out of the clothes that have defined you during this season of loss. The sackcloth had its purpose. It honored your grief, acknowledged your loss, gave appropriate expression to your pain. God doesn't despise the sackcloth season. He doesn't rush to remove it before its work is done. But when the time is right, he helps us transition into something new. Maybe you've been wearing the sackcloth of grief for so long that it feels like part of your identity. Maybe you've gotten so used to being the grieving one, the hurting one, the one who's walking through loss, that you can't imagine wearing anything else. You removed my sackcloth. God sees beyond your current wardrobe. He sees the person you're becoming through this process, the character that's being developed through your pain, the strength that's being forged in the fire of loss. And he has new clothes waiting for that new person. But notice that God does the removing. You don't have to figure out when it's time to stop grieving. You don't have to force yourself out of mourning prematurely. You don't have to pretend you're ready for joy before you actually are. God's timing for this transition is perfect, and his hands are gentle. And clothed me with joy. Not just removed the sackcloth, not just left David naked and exposed, but actively clothed him with something beautiful. God doesn't just take away our mourning, he replaces it with something better. Joy as clothing, joy as covering, joy as protection, joy as identity, joy as the new garment that defines how we move through the world. Clothed me with joy. This joy is different from happiness. Happiness depends on circumstances. Joy is deeper, more stable, more resilient. This is the joy that can coexist with sadness, the joy that's been refined by sorrow, the joy that knows the value of tears and therefore treasures the gift of laughter. This is joy that remembers the sackcloth. It doesn't pretend that season never happened. It doesn't deny the reality of loss or minimize the importance of grief. But it testifies to the truth that mourning has an expiration date, while joy has an eternal shelf life. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Maybe you're not ready for this change of clothes yet. Maybe the sackcloth still feels necessary, still feels appropriate, still feels like the only honest response to your loss. That's okay. God's timing is perfect, and He won't rush you out of mourning before the mourning has done its work. But maybe you're starting to feel the first hints that change is coming. Maybe there are moments when the sackcloth feels a little less necessary, when you catch glimpses of who you might be on the other side of this grief. Maybe you're beginning to sense God's gentle hands, preparing to help you with a wardrobe change. Either way, this promise stands. God specializes in changing clothes. He's expert at helping people transition from mourning garments to celebration attire. He's professional at the gentle removal of sorrow and the tender application of joy. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. The same hands that held you while you wept are the hands that will dress you for dancing. The same God who walked with you through the valley of the shadow of death is the God who will lead you to green pastures and still waters. The same love that comforted you in your sackcloth is the love that will clothe you with joy tonight. Let yourself imagine, just for a moment, what it might feel like to wear joy instead of sorrow. Let yourself wonder what it will be like when God's gentle hands help you out of the heavy garments of grief and into the light clothes of celebration. You don't have to feel guilty for imagining this. You don't have to feel like you're betraying your loved one by anticipating joy. They wouldn't want your love for them to be forever defined by sorrow. They would want your love for them to eventually be clothed with the joy of having known them, of having been blessed by them, of carrying their influence forward in celebration rather than only in sadness. Your new clothes are being prepared. Your joy is being tailored. Your dancing outfit is being designed by the God who has never failed to keep this promise to anyone who has trusted Him through the darkness of loss into the light of new life. David now reveals the purpose behind God's transformation. That my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. This is why God turns wailing into dancing, why He removes sackcloth and clothes us with joy, not just for our comfort, not just for our happiness, but so that our hearts can sing His praises again, so that our voices can join the great chorus of testimony that declares His goodness to a world that desperately needs to hear it. That my heart may sing your praises. Notice that it's the heart that sings, not just the voice. This isn't about going through the motions of worship or forcing yourself to praise when you don't feel it. This is about the heart being restored to a place where praise becomes natural again, where worship flows from genuine gratitude rather than obligation. Your heart may not be ready to sing praises yet. Your heart may still be too heavy, too broken, too raw, and that's okay. God isn't demanding songs from you tonight. He's making a promise about what your heart will do when the healing is complete. That my heart may sing your praises. David had been through a season when his heart couldn't sing, when worship felt impossible, when praise seemed inappropriate given his circumstances. But God was working toward restoration, not just of David's circumstances, but of David's capacity for worship. Maybe you've been feeling guilty because worship feels forced right now, because you can't access the gratitude you used to feel, because praise feels hollow when your heart is full of grief. you're not doing anything wrong. You're in a season when your heart is learning new songs, when your worship is being refined by pain, when your praise is being deepened by sorrow. Asterisk, double quotes, ... and not be silent. Asterisk. God wants your voice back. Not because he needs your praise. He has all the worship he needs, but because you need to praise. Because your heart needs the healing that comes from acknowledging God's goodness. Because your soul needs the restoration that comes from declaring his faithfulness. And because others need to hear your testimony. Others need to hear the song that your heart will sing when it emerges from this valley. Others need to know that hearts can break and still learn to sing again. That worship can be interrupted by sorrow and still resume with even greater depth. Asterisk. That my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Asterisk. Your silence right now is understandable. Your inability to sing right now is not a spiritual failure. Your heart's heaviness right now is not a lack of faith. You're in a season of learning new songs, and learning takes time, but God is working toward the day when your heart will sing again, not the same songs you sang before, but deeper songs, richer songs, songs that only hearts that have been broken and healed can sing. These will be songs of praise that remember the valley. They'll be songs of worship that acknowledge both the darkness and the dawn. They'll be songs of testimony that speak to the reality of pain and the certainty of God's faithfulness through pain. Asterisk. That my heart may sing your praises. ... Asterisk. When your heart learns to sing again, it will sing with authority that can only come from experience. It will sing with depth that can only come from having been in the depths. It will sing with joy that can only come from having known genuine sorrow. Your future songs will encourage other hearts that are currently silent. Your restored worship will give hope to others whose praise feels impossible right now. Your testimony will be exactly what someone else needs to hear when they're wondering if their heart will ever sing again. Asterisk, ... and not be silent. Asterisk. God is committed to ending your silence, not your quiet seasons. There will always be times for contemplative stillness, but your spiritual silence, your worship silence, your testimony silence that has an expiration date, you will not be silent forever. Your voice will return. Your heart will sing. Your testimony will ring out with the good news that God is faithful through the darkest valleys, that he heals the most broken hearts, that he restores the capacity for joy even to those who thought joy was gone forever. Asterisk. That my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Asterisk. Tonight, as you rest, don't worry about the songs you can't sing right now. Don't feel guilty about the praise that feels forced. Don't be concerned about the worship that feels empty. God is patient with your heart's healing process. He's not demanding songs from you before you're ready to sing them genuinely. But hold on to this promise. Your heart will sing again. Your voice will return. Your worship will be restored. And when it is, it will be more beautiful, more genuine, more powerful than it ever was before. Because it will be worship that has been refined by sorrow and seasoned by the faithfulness of God. Through the darkest night, let's focus on this phrase that carries so much hope. Asterisk, ... and not be silent. Asterisk. Silence. Maybe that's where grief has taken you, to a place where words feel inadequate, where your voice feels lost, where speaking about your pain feels impossible and speaking about anything else feels trivial. Grief can steal our voice in so many ways. It can make us feel like we don't have anything worth saying. It can convince us that our pain is too big for words, too complex for explanation, too deep for anyone else to understand. And not be silent. But God has plans for your voice. He has purposes for your words. He has uses for your testimony that you can't even imagine yet. Your current silence is not your permanent condition. Maybe you've been silent because you're afraid that if you start talking about your loss, you won't be able to stop crying. Maybe you've been quiet because you don't want to burden others with your pain. Maybe you've been speechless because words feel like betrayal, either of your grief or of your loved one's memory. And not be silent. There's power in breaking silence. There's healing in finding your voice again. There's restoration in being able to speak your story, share your pain, testify to what you've learned about God's faithfulness through the darkest season of your life. Your silence right now might be protective. It might be necessary for this season. It might be the way you're coping with overwhelming emotions, and that's okay. God doesn't need you to find your voice before you're ready, but He also doesn't want you to stay silent forever. He wants your voice back, not because you have to perform or prove anything, but because you have something important to say. You have a testimony that someone else needs to hear. And not be silent. When you do find your voice again, it will be different than before. It will be seasoned by sorrow, deepened by pain, enriched by the experience of being comforted by God in the midst of loss. It will be a voice that can speak to other broken hearts with authority because it has been broken and is being healed. Your future voice will be able to say things like, "I know what it feels like to think you'll never be happy again, and I want you to know that happiness does return. I know what it's like to feel like God has abandoned you, and I can testify that He never actually leaves. I know what it's like to think that your pain will never end, and I'm here to tell you that morning really does come." And not be silent. Maybe your voice will return gradually. Maybe you'll find yourself able to talk about small things first, then bigger things, then eventually about your loss itself. Maybe you'll discover that you can speak hope to others before you can fully believe it for yourself. Or maybe your voice will return suddenly in a moment when someone else needs exactly what you have to offer. When your experience of God's faithfulness is precisely what another heart needs to hear, and not be silent. Your story matters. Your experience matters. Your testimony about God's faithfulness through the valley matters. The world needs to hear from people who have walked through the darkness and found God to be faithful on the other side. Your voice, when it returns, will carry weight because it will carry truth. It will carry comfort because it will carry understanding. It will carry hope because it will carry the testimony of someone who has been hopeless and found hope again. And not be silent. Tonight, don't worry about when your voice will return or what it will sound like when it does. Don't pressure yourself to speak before you're ready or to say things you don't genuinely feel yet, but do hold on to this promise. Your silence is temporary. Your voice will return. Your testimony will emerge. And when it does, it will be exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep going through their own dark night. God is not only healing your heart, He's preparing your voice. He's not only restoring your joy, He's getting ready to use your story. He's not only bringing you through this valley, He's equipping you to help others walk through theirs. Your words matter. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And one day soon, you will not be silent about the goodness of God, the faithfulness of His love, and the reality that morning really does come after even the longest night. David concludes his psalm with a declaration that stretches beyond time. Lord my God, I will praise you forever. Forever. Not just when things are good, not just when life makes sense, not just when circumstances are favorable. Forever means through every season, the mountain seasons and the valley seasons, the dancing seasons and the weeping seasons, the seasons of God's apparent presence and the seasons when His face seems hidden. Lord my God, I will praise you forever. Notice how personal this is. Lord my God, not just the God of the universe, not just the God of other people, but my God, the God who has walked with David through his specific valley, who has heard his specific cries, who has transformed his specific wailing into dancing. Your relationship with God is just as personal. He's not just the God of everyone else's stories. He's the God of your story. He's not just the God who heals other people's hearts. He's the God who is healing your heart. He's not just the God who brings other people through valleys. He's your God, walking with you through your valley. I will praise you forever. This is the voice of someone who has been to the bottom and back up again. This is the testimony of someone who has experienced both the dark night of the soul and the morning that followed. This is the declaration of someone who has learned that God's faithfulness isn't dependent on circumstances. David can say forever, because he's learned that God's character doesn't change based on David's situation. He's discovered that God's love isn't conditional on David's happiness. He's experienced the truth that God's commitment to him is more permanent than any temporary suffering. Lord my God, I will praise you forever. Maybe forever feels like too big a word right now. Maybe you can barely imagine praising God tomorrow, let alone forever. Maybe the idea of eternal gratitude feels overwhelming when you're struggling to find gratitude for today. That's okay. David didn't write this in the middle of his valley. He wrote it from the other side, from the place of restoration, from the perspective of someone who had experienced the complete transformation from wailing to dancing. But his forever includes the valley. His eternal praise encompasses the dark night as well as the bright morning. His endless gratitude covers the season of weeping as well as the season of joy. When you emerge from this valley, and you will emerge, your forever will include this season too. Your eternal praise will encompass this grief as well as the joy that's coming. Your endless gratitude will cover this darkness as well as the light that's dawning. You'll praise God forever, not despite what you've been through, but because of what you've been through. You'll thank Him eternally, not for the pain itself, but for His faithfulness through the pain. You'll worship Him endlessly, not because the loss was good, but because His love proved to be greater than the loss. Lord my God, I will praise you forever. This forever stretches beyond this lifetime. It reaches into eternity. where there will be no more tears, no more sorrow, no more separation, no more grief, where the reunion you long for will be complete, where the questions you're asking will be answered, where the love that feels interrupted by death will be restored in fullness. But it also begins now, in small ways, in quiet moments, in glimpses of gratitude that surprised you in the middle of sorrow. It starts with tiny acknowledgments of God's presence in your pain, microscopic recognitions of His faithfulness in your darkness. Asterisk, I will praise you forever. Asterisk, your forever praise is already being written. It's being composed through this experience of loss, being crafted through this journey of grief, being prepared through this process of healing. The praise that will flow from your lips in years to come is being shaped by what you're walking through right now. And that praise will have depth because it will include this valley. It will have richness because it will remember this darkness. It will have power because it will testify to faithfulness that was proven in the furnace of loss. Asterisk, Lord my God, I will praise you forever. Asterisk, tonight, you don't have to feel ready to make this declaration. You don't have to be able to see how you could praise God forever when you're struggling to praise Him today. You just have to trust that the God who brought David from wailing to eternal worship is the same God who is walking with you from your current grief toward your future gratitude. Your forever is being prepared. Your eternal praise is being composed. Your endless worship is being refined through this season of sorrow. And when it emerges, as it surely will, it will be more beautiful, more genuine, more powerful than any praise that has never been tested by tears. As we step back and look at Psalm 30 as a complete testimony, we see the full arc of David's journey, from despair to joy, from weeping to dancing, from silence to eternal praise. This isn't just a beautiful poem, it's a fulfilled promise, a completed transformation, a testimony to God's faithfulness that has been proven over time. When David wrote, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning," he wasn't speaking theoretically, he was writing from experience. He had lived through the night, and he had seen the morning. He had endured the weeping, and he had received the joy. This psalm is David's testimony that God keeps His promises, that the God who says He will turn mourning into dancing actually does it, that the God who promises to heal the brokenhearted actually follows through, that the God who claims to be near to those who are crushed in spirit actually shows up. David's story is meant to be your hope tonight. His experience is meant to be your encouragement. His testimony is meant to be your anchor when the storms of grief threaten to sweep you away. If God did this for David, He will do it for you. If God transformed David's wailing into dancing, He will transform yours too. If God removed David's sackcloth and clothed him with joy, He will do the same for you. The same God who lifted David out of the depths is ready to lift you. The same God who didn't let David's enemies triumph over him won't let your enemies' despair, hopelessness, overwhelming grief have the final word in your story either. The same God who heard David's cries for mercy is listening to yours. The same God who healed David is in the process of healing you. The same God who brought David up from the realm of the dead is bringing you up to dot. Look at where David ended up. Look at how his story concluded. Look at the transformation that was accomplished in his life. From the depths to praise, from dismay to dancing, from silence to eternal worship. This is where your story is heading to. Not immediately, not without process, not without continued seasons of grief and healing, but inevitably, certainly, surely, this is your destination. Your night of weeping has an expiration date. Your season of sorrow has a conclusion. Your time of feeling like God's face is hidden has an end point. Your period of silence has a breaking point. Joy is coming in your mourning. Dancing is being prepared for your feet. Praise is being composed for your lips. Forever worship is being written for your heart. David's fulfilled promise is your guaranteed future. His completed testimony is your assured destiny. His proven experience of God's faithfulness is your certain hope. The God who was faithful to David has not changed. The God who transformed David's life specializes in impossible makeovers. The God who gave David a story of redemption is writing one for you, too, tonight. Let David's fulfilled promise be the pillow on which you rest your weary head. Let his completed transformation be the blanket that covers your anxious heart. Let his proven testimony be the lullaby that sings you to sleep. What God did for David, he will do for you. How God showed up for David, he will show up for you. The way God proved faithful to David, he will prove faithful to you. This is not wishful thinking. This is not positive psychology. This is not empty optimism. This is the proven track record of the God who has been turning mourning into dancing, wailing into worship, and night into morning for thousands of years. Your testimony is being written. Your transformation is in process. Your mourning is on the way. Let me speak directly to your heart tonight, to your specific situation, to your particular grief. Let me personalize these ancient promises for your modern pain. Asterisk weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Asterisk your mourning is coming. Not the generic mourning that comes to everyone, but your mourning, the mourning designed specifically for your night. Crafted particularly for your weeping, prepared exclusively for your healing. Your mourning might look different than you expect. It might come more slowly than you want. It might arrive in ways you don't recognize at first, but it is coming as surely as the sun rises each day, as certainly as spring follows winter, as inevitably as dawn breaks through the darkest night. Asterisk, I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths. Asterisk, you will say these words someday. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but someday these words will flow from your heart with genuine gratitude, because you will have experienced the lifting. You will have felt God's hands pulling you up from the depths of despair, raising you from the pit of grief, elevating you from the valley of sorrow. Asterisk, you turned my wailing into dancing. Asterisk, you're wailing the specific cries that come from your unique loss. The particular tears that flow from your individual pain will be turned into dancing. Not generic celebration, but you're dancing the joy that emerges from your specific journey. The gladness that grows from your particular soil of sorrow. Your dancing might be quiet dancing, private dancing, dancing that only you and God recognize. Or it might be public dancing, celebratory dancing, dancing that inspires others who are still in their wailing season. Either way, it will be genuine, it will be yours, and it will be beautiful. Asterisk, you removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Asterisk, the heavy garments you're wearing right now, the grief that covers you, the sorrow that defines you, the mourning that has become your identity. These are not your permanent wardrobe. God has new clothes for you. Joy, clothes, celebration, attire. Garments of praise that fit the person you're becoming through this process. Asterisk. That my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Asterisk. Your heart will sing again. Your voice will return with testimony. Your silence will break with praise. Not forced praise, not manufactured gratitude, but genuine worship that flows from a heart that has been healed, a soul that has been restored, a spirit that has been renewed. Asterisk. Lord my God, I will praise you forever. Asterisk. These words will be yours too. Forever praise that includes this valley. Eternal gratitude that encompasses this darkness. Endless worship that remembers this night but celebrates the morning that followed. Your specific morning is coming. Your particular joy is being prepared. Your individual dancing is being choreographed. Your personal praise is being composed. The same God who has walked with you through every day of this grief will walk with you into every day of healing that follows. The same God who has held you through every night of tears will celebrate with you through every morning of joy that dawns. The same God who has seen every tear you've cried has already prepared every smile that's coming. The same God who has heard every cry of pain has already composed every song of praise that will flow from your lips. Your morning is not just coming, it's being customized for you. Your joy is not just approaching, it's being tailored to fit your story. Your dancing is not just possible, it's being designed specifically for your feet, your rhythm, your celebration. Now, as we prepare your heart for sleep, I want to guide you through a gentle exercise of release. It's time to lay down the burdens you've been carrying today, to give God the sorrows that have been weighing on your soul, to create space in your heart for rest and restoration. Take a slow, deep breath with me. As you breathe in, imagine you're drawing in God's peace, His presence, His comfort. As you breathe out, imagine you're releasing the tension, the worry, the grief that has accumulated in your body and spirit throughout this day. Asterisk. Breathe in peace. ... Breathe out pain. Asterisk. Today may have been filled with reminders of your loss. You may have passed by places that hold memories, seen things that belonged to them, heard songs that you used to share. You may have faced moments when the reality of their absence hit you like a wave all over again. It's time to release today's fresh grief to God. You don't have to carry it into your sleep. You don't have to hold on to it through the night. God is willing to take today's sorrow and hold it for you while you rest. Asterisk. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. Asterisk. Picture yourself gathering up all the sadness from today, the moments when you missed them, the times when loneliness felt overwhelming, the instances when the future looked too difficult to face. Gather it all up in your arms like you would gather dirty laundry, and imagine yourself walking to God and laying it at His feet. Asterisk. Release the longing. ... Release the loneliness. Release the fear. Asterisk. Maybe today you had to make decisions they would have helped you make. Maybe you faced challenges they would have supported you through. Maybe you experienced joys that felt incomplete because they weren't there to share them with you. Give these experiences to God. Let Him hold the weight of navigating life without their guidance, facing difficulties without their support, celebrating victories without their presence. Asterisk. Breathe in strength. Breathe out exhaustion. Asterisk, today may have required you to be strong for others, to comfort family members who are also grieving, to make arrangements, to handle responsibilities that feel too heavy for your current emotional state. You may have put on a brave face when you felt like falling apart, spoken words of hope when you felt hopeless yourself. It's okay to let that strength go now. It's okay to stop being strong for everyone else and just be held by God. It's okay to release the pressure to be okay when you're not okay. Asterisk, release the need to be strong. Release the pressure to be okay. Asterisk, take another deep breath. As you exhale, imagine releasing any guilt you picked up today. Guilt over moments of laughter. Guilt over times when you forgot to feel sad. Guilt over enjoying something when they can't enjoy anything anymore. Your loved one wouldn't want your love for them to be defined by constant sorrow. They wouldn't want your memory of them to require you to be perpetually miserable. Release the guilt that tells you healing is betrayal. Asterisk, release the guilt. Release the shame. Release the pressure. Asterisk, now imagine God's hands, gentle and strong, reaching out to take everything you've been carrying. Picture Him lifting the burden of today's grief from your shoulders, removing the weight of tomorrow's worries from your chest, extracting the pain that has lodged itself in your heart. Asterisk, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Asterisk, as God takes your burdens, imagine Him replacing them with His peace. Feel His calm settling into the spaces where anxiety lived. Experience His comfort filling the places where pain resided. Sense His presence occupying the rooms in your heart where loneliness had taken up residence. Asterisk, received peace, received comfort, received presence. Asterisk, you don't have to solve anything tonight. You don't have to figure out how to move forward. You don't have to plan for tomorrow or process all your emotions. You just have to rest. You just have to let God hold you while you sleep, watch over you while you're vulnerable, tend to your heart while you're unaware. Asterisk, release the need to understand. Release the pressure to heal quickly. Release the demand to feel better. Asterisk, picture yourself as a child, exhausted from a long, difficult day, being carried to bed by a loving parent. You don't have to stay awake. You don't have to keep fighting. You don't have to remain alert. You can trust that you're safe, that you're loved, that you're being cared for, even when you can't care for yourself. Asterisk, rest in the arms of love. Sleep in the embrace of peace. Trust in the care of the God who never sleeps. Asterisk, as your eyes grow heavy, as your breathing slows, as sleep begins to call your name, remember this: God is taking the night shift. He's watching over your dreams, guarding your heart, preparing tomorrow's grace. While you rest in today's mercy, you can let go now. You can release today's sorrow, tomorrow's worries, and this moment's pain. God has you. God has this. God has everything under control. Asterisk, sleep in peace. Rest in love. Trust in faithfulness. Asterisk, now, as sleep begins to pull you into its gentle embrace, I want to wrap you in the promises of Psalm 30 like a warm blanket, covering you with God's faithfulness as you rest. Asterisk, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Asterisk, let this promise be your pillow tonight. Rest your weary head on the assurance that your night of weeping has an expiration date, that your morning of joy has a guaranteed arrival time. You don't have to see the dawn to trust that it's coming. You don't have to feel the joy to believe it's on its way. As you close your eyes, imagine these words written across the ceiling of your room, painted on the walls of your heart, whispered by angels who watch over those who grieve. Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Asterisk, I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths. Asterisk, even in your sleep, God is lifting you. Even while you rest, He's pulling you up from the depths of despair. Even as you dream, He's elevating your spirit from the pit of sorrow. The lifting doesn't stop when you close your eyes. It continues through the night, gentle and constant and sure. Feel yourself being lifted even now. Feel the depths releasing their hold on you. Feel yourself rising, slowly but certainly, toward the light that waits above. Asterisk, you turned my wailing into dancing. Asterisk, your transformation is happening even while you sleep. Your healing is continuing even while you rest. Your dancing is being prepared even while you lie still. God doesn't take breaks from His work of restoration. He doesn't pause His process of turning mourning into celebration. In your dreams tonight, you might find yourself moving differently, feeling lighter, experiencing moments of freedom from the weight that has been pressing on your chest. These are glimpses of the dancing that's coming, previews of the joy that's being prepared. Asterisk, you removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Asterisk, as you pull your blankets around you tonight, imagine God pulling joy around you like a covering. As you adjust your pillows, picture Him adjusting your heart to receive the new garments He's designing for you. As you settle into comfort, sense Him settling peace into your soul. Your grief clothes are temporary. Your joy clothes are being tailored. Your celebration outfit is being prepared for the day when you're ready to wear it. Asterisk, that my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Asterisk, His favor is on you tonight. His blessing covers you as you sleep. His goodwill toward you continues through the darkness. His love for you doesn't diminish with the setting sun or pause with the onset of night. Sleep in His favor. Rest in His blessing. Dream in His love. You are safe tonight. You are held tonight. You are loved tonight. The God who has walked with You, through every moment of this grief, is the God who will watch over you through every moment of this sleep. Your dreams are under His protection. Your rest is under His care. Your heart is under His healing touch. Asterisk weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Asterisk morning is coming. Not just the morning that brings another day, but the morning that brings renewed hope, restored joy, resurrected dreams. Your morning is coming, and it will be more beautiful than you can imagine tonight. Sleep now in the promise. Rest now in the assurance. Dream now in the hope. You are beloved. You are held. You are healing. Your morning is coming. As our time together draws to a close, as sleep calls your name more insistently, as peace settles over your weary soul like dew on morning grass, I want to leave you with one final blessing, one last word of hope, one gentle reminder of the love that surrounds you even now. You made it through today. That might not seem like a big accomplishment to someone who hasn't walked in your shoes, but to those of us who understand the weight of grief, we know it's actually quite remarkable. You got up this morning when getting up felt impossible. You kept breathing when breathing felt like work. You made it to tonight when morning felt like it would never come. That's not small. That's actually heroic. That's the kind of quiet courage that heaven applauds, the kind of daily faithfulness that angels notice, the kind of ordinary miracle that makes God smile. Asterisk weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Asterisk tomorrow morning, the literal morning that will arrive in just a few hours, might not be the morning this verse is talking about. You might wake up still feeling the weight of loss, still missing them, still wondering how you're going to make it through another day. But every literal morning is a reminder of the spiritual morning that's coming. Every sunrise is God's signature on His promise that darkness doesn't get the last word. Every dawn is evidence that He specializes in making new beginnings possible. And one morning, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next year, but certainly, inevitably, surely, you'll wake up and realize that something has shifted. The weight will feel a little lighter. The colors will seem a little brighter. The future will look a little more possible. That will be the beginning of your morning, not the end of your grief. Love doesn't have an expiration date, and neither does the tenderness that comes from having loved deeply. But the beginning of joy returning, hope re-emerging, life calling, your name in a voice you thought you'd never hear again. If you found comfort in these words tonight, if this ancient psalm has spoken to your modern pain, if God's promises have provided even a moment of peace for your restless heart, then I want to invite you to return. This place will always be here for you. Psalm's peace, a refuge for hearts that need to remember that God's love is stronger than our deepest pain. There will be other nights when sleep feels elusive, other evenings when your heart needs to be reminded of its own capacity for healing. There will be other moments when you need to hear again that morning is coming, that joy is promised, that your story isn't over yet. You're always welcome here. Your grief is always welcome here. Your questions are always welcome here. Your hope, however fragile it might feel, is always welcome here. But more than being welcome in this space, you are welcome in God's heart. You are at home in His love. You belong in His presence. Your pain doesn't disqualify you from His comfort. Your doubts don't exclude you from His peace. Your questions don't remove you from His care. Asterisk. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Asterisk. He is close to you tonight, closer than your next breath, nearer than your own heartbeat, more present than the pillow beneath your head. He's close to your brokenness, near to your pain, present with your sorrow. And he's already writing the story of your healing. He's already composing the song of your restoration. He's already designing the joy that will clothe you when you're ready to wear it. Asterisk. Joy comes in the morning. Asterisk. Your morning is coming. It's approaching like dawn, slowly at first, with just hints of light on the horizon, but then more steadily, more obviously, until suddenly the landscape of your life is illuminated by hope you thought you'd never see again. Your joy is coming, not the same joy you knew before that would be impossible, but deeper joy, richer joy, joy that has been seasoned by sorrow and strengthened by survival, joy that knows the value of tears and therefore treasures the gift of laughter. Joy that has been tested by darkness and therefore shines brighter in the light as you close your eyes tonight, as sleep finally claims your weary body, as rest settles over your exhausted soul. Carry this truth with you into your dreams. You are loved with an everlasting love. You are held by unshakable arms. You are watched over by eyes that never sleep. You are carried by a strength that never fails. Your morning is coming. Your joy is approaching. Your dancing is being prepared. Your song is being written. Your forever praise is being composed. Sleep now, beloved. Rest now, precious one. Dream now, child of the morning. Asterisk. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Asterisk. Your morning is coming, and it will be more beautiful than you can imagine tonight. You are loved. You are held. You are healing. Your morning is coming. Rest now in peace. Joy comes with the dawn.